Welcome to the Golf Smarter podcast, John.
Hi, Fred.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excited to talk about this putter that you've created. Can we spend some time on this because we met briefly back in Utah at the ING conference, and you had these putters set up, and it's one of those putters you kind of feel like a puppy who's heard a sound for the first time. You see this putter and go, huh? And I tell you, I came home with one, and I've fallen in love with this putter. It's I can't believe it's like I go back to my other putter and go, I'm just not hitting it as well. I've gotten so comfortable so quickly with this putter. But I need to ask you a question right off the top, because this is the question that I get asked every time I bring it out, which is part of what I love about it. It's a great topic of conversation. It is really a conversation piece. Is it legal?
USGA and RNA conforming both, so it is totally legal, yes.
Why do people think it's not?
Well, they actually kind of think they ask if it's legal because it seems like cheating because it's so simple. And I can understand that point of view. The question is, why hasn't it been put into play by bigger companies than me? And that's a great question. It's a question that I'm glad they haven't figured out the answer to yet, because I'm kind of like my own entity right now. But they make them big, they make them heavy, but they don't make them big and heavy. And I think there's a specific reason for that, because they can keep selling you another putter every year and deem it to be different than the one before it, when in fact, physics-wise, the putters are all the same. I've just been doing some research on mallets versus blade. This is a big topic now, blade putter versus mallet putter, because, Jason Day and Dustin Johnson are using mallet head putters, and they've gone away from the blade. And everybody wants to know why. Well, good question. I'm not sure why. I guess I guess the biggest reason why is the mallet head center face balanced. And a center face balanced putter really helps you do a down the line stroke. So you'll keep the face square on the backstroke and square on the follow through. Whereas the blade putter kind of mimics the rest of the irons in your bag, and it makes you want to do like a screen door stroke, so you open on the backstroke and close on the follow through. And it mimics what you do with the rest of your clubs. So it seems comfortable, simple, and easy, but it's not effective. It's a terrible idea. Who sold this bill of goods for putting? I have no clue. If it was the case that you could mimic your irons and putt really well the same way, then great golfers like Sam Snead and Ben Hogan would have never given up their style. I mean, Ben Hogan quit playing because he couldn't putt anymore, and he's the best ball striker ever. Why did he quit putting? Because he even said himself, golf and putting are two completely different sports. One's played in the air and the other's played on the ground. And when you have to open and close a putter face, it's suicidal.
Yep.
So,
I've gravitated, I didn't start playing golf until my 40s, and I immediately gravitated to mallet putters, especially a center shafted putter. To me, it made it so much easier to line up the putt and know that if you have that center shaft, you can just go right through the ball, right at, impact where that you're focused on the center of the putter
right.
But it doesn't work that way with a blade. And I've never been comfortable with blades, and I've tried. I've always gone right back to a mallet. And that's one of the other things that yours is beyond a mallet. It's almost a snowshoe.
Yeah, right. Right, it's big. Well, the USGA limits 7 inches from toe to heel. You can't make a putter bigger than 7 inches from toe to heel.
Okay.
So we started off with 7 inches because that's the limit, and maximized the moment of inertia on that, which is to maximize the outer weighting of it. And it was like 800 grams. It was huge. And although it was extraordinarily stable, the swing motion of it and the impact feel on the ball was really not there. So we started backing it off. And when we came to 6.25 inches, we maximized that moment of inertia. It was about 620 grams of weight, and that's where we settled in. club companies out there, they tout this concept of higher moment of inertia than the other guy, and it's not a true statement.
I apologize.
That's okay. I'll
Go ahead.
start that over.
No. Keep going.
Oh, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just my interruption, and I apologize.
Oh, not a problem. Turn off your cell phone. I did that.
Actually, it wasn't my cell phone. When my cell phone rings, it rings on my computer, on my laptop
gee,
over
that's
here.
even better.
So my cell phone was quiet. It was the computer, the laptop that started. So that is now out of the way. My bad. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. Anyways, the putter companies talk about moment of inertia, and they claim one is better than another, higher moment of inertia. If it's 5 inches from toe to heel, which most of them are, and it weighs about 360 or 380 grams, which most of them do, the moment of inertia is virtually the same. I mean, you can stretch that weight out to the outer edges of the putter, and that will change the moment of inertia somewhat, but most of them don't. So the end game is it doesn't really do any good. And the purpose of moment of inertia is to stabilize the head as it moves through the air around the axis of the shaft. The shaft on the putter is the swivel point of the head. So when you swing the club, the head's going to want to revolve around that axis as it moves and open and close the face en route to the ball. That's, like I said before, is suicidal. The order of importance in putting is you hit the sweet spot, you keep the face square, and then it's got to do with the stroke. But stroke is like number 3 on the list of importance behind impact on the sweet spot and keeping the face square. But yet everybody gravitates to the swing as if that's a big deal. It's not a big deal. In some of my demonstrations, I've taken a putter, pointed at the hole on a flat putt for like a 10-foot putt, and swung 45 degrees off line, and the ball goes like about 7 degrees left of the hole. On occasion, I've even made the putt with that horrible a stroke, just because I was sure to keep the face square. But you turn the face 45 degrees and go right at the hole, and it's like 37 degrees offline. It's 5 times worse. So face direction's huge.
Sure.
Oscillating the face on purpose I see no logic to that. But there's a common rule out there, or a common concept about, it's got to feel good, and it should be simple, and it should be easy. And, simple is not necessarily easier. And touch and feel is not necessarily your good friend when it comes to direction and how the club feels in your hand. Just a simple fact that touch and feel is a product of hands and fingers, and you're not supposed to use your hands and fingers when you putt. So where'd that come up from?
Right.
What I believe to be true is touch and feel is a product of your depth perception for distance measuring. You have to equate what you look at for touch and feel in what you need to do to give the ball the energy it needs to get to the hole, following the chosen track line. So if you've got a left to right break of 2 feet, the ball's going to follow that track line to the hole. And in doing so, you have to judge that distance correctly. And your depth perception, your binocular vision is what equates into your touch and feel that tells you, okay, I need this much energy into the ball. Now, with this putter, the MOI Max, the touch and feel into the ball is equated to stroke size. Stroke size is a wonderful way to get distance control because it's just how big you move the club. Sure. It's just like throwing a ball into playing cornhole. You wouldn't take a little choppy backstroke and try to chuck it there hard. You take a big, long arm motion based on the distance you're looking at, and you try to estimate that for how big your arm swings. It's the same equation. So it's the purest way for us to use what we have.
Yeah. Part of what I love about the club is when I'm putting well, so often it seems on my lag putting especially that I'm going to come up an inch to the right of the hole, just past it. So it's a really good putt. It's just an inch off to the right. My line was wrong. And I noticed that when I would put your putter behind the ball and let it stand there on its own, and for those of you who are watching on this is the putter behind me standing up on its own. You can see it standing here. It's a great way to stand behind, and besides the fact that everybody on the green at that point is going to start laughing, it's like, wait, what? You could step behind the putter, and it's got it has parallel lines that show you right into the center of the club face. And I noticed that I've always been aiming 1 inch right of the hole. I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it.
Oh, yeah.
I always thought I had a good line going, and why did I miss that? Well, I didn't have that good of a line going, and this has just been an exclamation point on my position when I set up on my putts.
Oh, yeah. And going the putter and teaching it, guys will stand behind and line it up perfect up their chosen aim line. And then when they walk up, they look up at the line and they readjust it. And it's like, why would you do that? You're much more accurate from behind the ball lining up than you are over it looking with a singular eye. So it's just, we say don't adjust it, trust it. Once you line up your line, trust it, and you're done with alignment. The putter's lined up. You use it as like a reference point to parallel your toes, hips, shoulders to the aim line. You've got the putter pointing down, and your aim is done. So direction control is not an issue now. When you get aggress the ball, you get your grip. You feel the weight in your hands. You feel that comfort of how your mechanics are going to move it through the air. Now all you have to do is look up at the hole and assess the distance between back line to the cup. Once you've got that locked in place, you look down and fire away. And you're comfortable to do that because everything's so perfect, you're not going to second guess anything. A huge thing I've discovered lately, and this is really exciting. If you can get your mind on something other than staring at a ball with nothing else to do, your mind is not going to be your enemy anymore. People that second guess and do subconscious in-stroke corrections kill their game. This doesn't let you do this because your mind has something constructive to do that's in the present moment. When you hear them talk on the tour all the time about I'm in the moment. Sure. That's very, very poignant.
We talk about that a lot here on the podcast, yeah.
Oh, being in the moment is the only action that your mind can do that puts it in a singular sense. If your mind's in the moment, it's a tool. If your mind's not in the moment, it's either in past or future, and then it's a pain in the neck. It's thinking about what it needs to do, what it did, or what it did right, what it did wrong, and it's jumping all over creation when all you need it to do is just be quiet so you can putt. So everybody's telling you, quiet your mind, have no mind, shut up your mind. That's impossible. It's like an ADHD kid sitting on the floor and say, just sit there and be quiet for mommy. Really? Is that going to happen? But if you give them something fun to do, they're fine. And your mind's just all over the place if you don't have something for it to do.
Yes, I know. And I don't appreciate you talking about me that way.
Yeah. That's right. Well, just focus on me, and then you won't remember what I said.
Yeah, well, I'm that kid sitting on the floor. Give me something to do.
Oh, it's true. It's true. Your mind is not your friend when it starts wandering. And the way things have always been with putters is you're so concerned about hitting the ball square with the putter because the sweet spot's the size of a dime, that what you end up doing is you're daydreaming, staring at that ball, trying to think it'll do that. Meanwhile, everything starts flooding in your head. Don't hit it too hard. Hit it harder. Remember the last hole, you didn't hit it. Get to the cup. You need this for birdie. You need this for bogey. Anything like that is not helpful when you're trying to move the putter. So giving
John,
your mind...
I really don't appreciate you watching me play golf without telling me that you're doing, because you're describing
I didn't just make... Yeah. I didn't just watch this to learn it. I've been doing it myself for years. So
right. My mind right now, my mind is my biggest enemy on the putting green. It's just beating me up. It's beating me up.
Yeah.
Tell me
Well,
about you mentioned that most putters have a sweet spot the size of a dime.
right.
Describe your sweet spot on the L2.
Well, I'll grab my L2 here as I happen to have it. The
Yeah,
sweet spot, the sweet spot on this putter is
I'll
five
grab
dimes
mine.
wide. Yeah,
It's how wide?
5 dimes wide. It goes from the toe to just past the uh, circle, or 3.5 inches. From there all the way up to there, 3.5 inches. It's 5 dimes wide. Can you imagine how simple that is to let go of the problem of hitting the sweet spot? And technically, a sweet spot is a sweet spot. The
Right.
alignment marks,
Right.
right?
So I don't mean to interrupt your train
It's
of
okay.
thought, but I'm just showing off the putter
Oh, right.
head as we're talking. So if you're watching on the video, hi, how are you? Thank you.
Yeah, good.
But you can also see the putter, what it looks like.
Yeah, that's okay. The A sweet spot is a sweet spot. So our sweet spot isn't any bigger than any other putter's sweet spot. It is. They're all the size of a dime, but there's something called the impact area, and the preferred impact area mimics the sweet spot.
Okay.
The sweet spot and the preferred impact area are one and the same with most putters. This one's not. It's 3.5 inches.
How do you do that?
So you can hit it anywhere in that area, and it's just like hitting the sweet spot. So what that means, the energy you put into the ball, you actually wanted to put into the ball. It won't shortchange you if you hit it on the toe or heel. If you don't hit it, if you hit it toward the toe or towards the other side of the impact area, the face won't open or close. Normal clubs with a dime-sized sweet spot. If you hit it on the toe as you make impact, you're going to oscillate the face and you lose energy through the ball. So you end up short and right. Opposite occurs if you hit the inside, you're going to oscillate the face in and hit it short and left. And so this putter, it's so solid anywhere in here that anywhere you hit it throughout the impact area, it's going to go right up the line like you hit it in the middle. What that means is it frees your eyes up to do something other than stare at the ball. Uh, I personally have gotten quite comfortable, and most of the people they actually are comfortable looking up at the hole when they putt on long putts, and on exchange for that, on short putts they look at the putter face to make sure it stays square. And what that gives them is a present moment action that keeps their mind busy participating in the stroke. Not looking where you're going makes no sense. The only reason we do it is because it makes less sense than hitting the ball wrong. So when you have a putter that has the impact area of ours and a high MOI, your eyes can go anywhere except staring at that ball. And that's quite a freeing feeling when you're out there. But it's funny to watch when I mention it to guys for the first time. I'll tell them, okay, I want you to make this putt. Don't look at the ball. Watch the putter head go back and forth. So they'll make the putt, and I'm staring at their head, and they never moved it. They're staring at the ball. I said, You didn't look at the head. You were looking at the ball. He goes, I can't do it.
Right.
I'd say, you aren't going to blow up. The world isn't going to end. Just try it. Do it once. And after they do it a few times, it's they go, I can't believe how easy this is. And I'm talking about serious pros, too, not just like an average amateur. When you let your head move with the stroke motion, your head rotates with your shoulders. It does a lot to free your shoulder rotation, which is where your motion should be. And having your head move with your shoulders helps. But more importantly, you're keeping the face square, which is mandatory. You don't have to worry about hitting the sweet spot because the impact area is so huge. And your mind's present moment busy, keeping its eye on the face to keep it square. That combined, it just makes you really improve your game 100%, especially short game putts.
Yeah, we've had Eric Alpenfels is the head teaching pro at Pinehurst, and he's written a book. He's been on the program a couple times, and he's written a book called Instinct Putting, where he recommends that when you're doing your practice putting, look at the hole, don't look at the ball. And when you were showing me this putter, you were saying, "Just don't even look at the ball, just look at the hole." I'm like, I've actually practiced that way. But you're right. People freak out. They don't. I don't know if you've ever seen people inside of a Tesla when they're trying out the hands-free. That let the computer of the car take over and let it do the driving, self-driving car. People completely freak out.
Yeah.
I mean, they're sitting there with their hands like so close to the steering wheel. And it's like, I can't. What am I supposed? It's so funny to watch, but it works.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see why people, golfers would freak out about not looking at the ball or not. It's like, I'm not supposed to move my head. I'm not supposed. And they can get all goofy about this.
Well, I'm a retired airline pilot, so you should see what that feels like when you're doing a jet.
Well, you've known about autopilot for a long time, right?
Well, the auto land, you auto land a 777, it's like so you got a football field you're landing, and it's landing itself. It's quite interesting, but you learn to understand to trust it, and that's really what this putter is all about. Actually, a lot of my physics philosophies and stuff came from my flying experiences, even the parallel alignment marks. But I actually wrote a little article about that in my website at one point called Putting with Pilot Eyes. Because when you fly as a pilot, your eyes are everywhere. They don't focus on one thing, they focus on everything. Right. Because you need to get your depth perception kicked in gear. When you're coming into land, if you stare at the end of the runway, you'll clunk it every time. So you have to learn to look at the other end of the runway, the planes around, the grass, the bushes, everything you can, as well as in the inside at the cockpit. And you bounce your eyes around, and what it does is it gives you a great feeling of depth perception for your distance measuring, because, when you land like a 777, you're 20 feet in the air when you touch down. So there's a little bit of a gap there of finding where that those gears are when they're like a half an acre behind you. But doing that kind of a experience really lends itself to putting, because a good example is like Jordan Spieth. Now, Jordan Spieth looks at the hole when he puts a short putt. On a long putt, he looks at the hole, he looks at the ball. What's interesting is I looked up some statistics. He's like number 40 on the tour from 3 to 5 feet when he's looking at the hole. And he's like number 1 from 20 feet when he looks at the ball. So you're probably asking, why would I mention that? Because that doesn't sound too supportive of my statement. But actually it is, because when you're close to the hole, I would prefer guys look at the putter head, not the ball. Because what happens is you stare at the hole on a short putt, you're not going to be following your aim line. You're going to have a tendency to pull it in toward the hole. Yep. And lots of times the hole, there's a break no matter what. So if you got a 6-inch break and you're looking at the hole, it's easy to pull that club a little bit. On a long putt, distance measuring is what it's all about. So looking at the hole on a long putt, unless you've got the tenacity and the patience and the ability of Jordan Spieth, a 20-foot putt helps you immensely when you can look where you're going while you putt.
Yeah. I took flying lessons for a couple months. It didn't last very long. My wife gave it to me as a gift. She goes, "Here, go take a practice flight or a test flight." She knew that I always wanted to do this.
She didn't take an insurance policy on you before you did that.
Well, no, but she was pregnant with our second kid, and so I did it, and I was like, "All right, this is awesome. I want to keep doing this." And one of the things that I found so fascinating about the transition from your car to a cockpit, it was, of course, it's just a little single engine plane with the wings above us as opposed to below, is that when you're flying, you're not just like in your car, you're looking in front of you, in your rearview mirror, left and right. But when you're in the air, you're looking left and right, in front of you, behind you, above you, below you. You've got so many different places that you've got to find and keep an eye on. It's amazing. And so that's why now when I'm on an airliner and it has a bump or something, it's like, it's okay. We're supposed to be in the air. Don't freak out about the plane having a little bump. Yeah. There's wind coming up from below, and it's okay. He's got it under control. I'm glad that you brought that up. I'm glad that you brought up that, because I was going to ask you, How long have you been designing golf clubs or specifically putters, and how did you get started?
Well, I worked on this for about 12 years now. Actually, Sam Snead was my inspiration. I loved him all my life as a golfer. I just think he has the best swing I ever saw, and I always tried to mimic him. And he started losing his stroke, started getting yippy, so he did that croquet style between your legs. And the story goes, from what I understand, that he was out putting or practicing, and Bobby Jones was riding around with a USGA guy that happened to see him putting between his legs. And Bobby Jones says, "I really don't like the way that looks. Get rid of it." So the USGA came out with a rule that says you can't straddle the line. You have to have both feet on the same side of the ball, thinking that would stop facing to hold a putt. But Sam just put his feet together, put the club off to his right, and kept playing that way. And he putted the rest of his career that way. He was good at it. Call it side saddle putting. From there, it's moved on to face forward. What were you gonna say?
Well, I'm just fascinated by that. I've never heard of it, nor have I seen it. I apologize. But so you're saying that his feet were parallel to the putting line, and he was looking. He just turned his body.
Right. He had his feet facing towards the hole,
Wow.
and they were to the side of the ball. The USGA says you have to have both feet on the same side, but they don't tell you how they have to point. You can
Right.
point them anywhere you want as long as they're on the same side of the ball. So he pointed them at the hole, put the club next to him like you would be if you were playing hockey. And he bent forward on a traditional little putter head and had a longer shaft with leather so he could bend over and reach down. And he putted that way the rest of his career. You would think that someone prolific as Sam Snead, everyone would copy him and we'd all be putting side saddle today. But it's not an easy way to putt. And
Right.
the reason why is, first of all, you got a head that's way too small to even try that because it's just not stable. And the second reason is your dominant hand in putting is not your friend. That goes from the pros all the way down to someone that never played the game before. Your dominant hand is where all the subconscious in-stroke corrections come from. It's where the adrenaline rush goes when you're nervous. And that's why you see the tour pros with left hand low, claw grip, up the forearm. They did anchor putting. They've done everything they can think of to neutralize their dominant hand. And that's always surprised me because as much as we always talk about mimicking the pros, I've never seen a PGA Tour Pro with his right hand below his left and his right index finger down the shaft, flipping it with his right wrist, ever. Maybe in the old days, I'm not sure. But
Right.
9 out of 10 amateurs putt that way. The right hand is everything to them, and it's not your friend. It's going to turn, twist, just jip and everything. The yips, I think that's where the yips go. It's the dominant hand thing. I've
Yeah.
never heard of a non-dominant hand. So it's not a good thing to have. The only way to neutralize it, I believe, is with a bigger, heavier club. So your hands are too busy holding on to be flipping it. So that's where the challenge is. Golfers that have always gotten comfortable putting with their dominant hand now can't do it easy because the putter's too heavy to manipulate that way.
How much does the putter weigh?
First thing I do is I go, oh, I can't putt with this. It's too heavy. It's too. To pardon?
I'm sorry. How much does the putter weigh overall?
They had 620 grams. Average putter's about 380, so it's just about twice as heavy.
Wow.
And
You notice it immediately too.
yeah, and it's heavy for a reason. It's because it's supposed to be a big swinging pendulum stroke. It's not supposed to be a quick hitting choppy thing like your ball by slapping at it. So whenever you can take your little muscles out of the stroke when you're putting, you're going to do better. And it's something that you're supposed to just mentally do. And it's not going to happen. You use your fast fingers, hands, and wrists for everything, from picking up a spoon to driving your car to scratching your head. Your hands always being used when you think about it. So now to just take it and set all that aside just because you need to putt. That's really hard to do. I mean, if you do it, it's not going to be consistent. So,
So if we can use the name or the word not unconventional to describe your putter, I also see that you use an unconventional grip.
yeah, we do. Well, when I first had the putter, I started off with a style called lateral line putting, which is actually a face-the-hole putting style like Sam Snead. Only the putter was longer, so you could stand upright. Same head as I have today, and the grip weighed 400 grams. It was a big grip, and I needed that because you need the whole club to be heavy, not just the head. If just the head is heavy, it'll make you wristier than normal. So when we went to the standard putter that we're using now, as selling now as well, the MOI Max, we needed a grip that was somewhat lighter, but the standard grip that comes with the L2 MOI Max is 200 grams, and it's a square grip. It's really comfortable in your hands, but the 200 grams at the top really transfers a lot of the weight from the head up to your arms more, so you don't get wristy with it. The grip that's on your putter is the XL. The XL grip is unique because it's like an opposing palm grip. And what you get with an opposing palm grip is, that's it. What you get with an opposing palm grip is your hands, your palms are more across from each other. And by having your palms more across from each other, they work better with a heavier head than they do having weight up in the grip. A lot of the big opposing palm grips that are out there now, the paddle type grips where you can put your palms across from each other, don't work as well because the head's so light that it flips you around.
Mm-hmm. Again, I'm just showing off the putter and the head. You do have center shafted, which I loved, but you do have a little bit of an interesting bend.
Right, the double bend, it gets your hands over the face more, gives you more options for for your loft. If you notice, in a normal address position, the putter has about a 3-degree loft.
Okay, yeah.
On the face. Mm-hmm. But the way the bottom is made, you can lay it back so you can actually change the loft to probably more like about 4 to 5 degrees. And what I've discovered is by having that option, if the greens are fast or you have a short putt, giving a little more loft to the putter face actually gets you hitting the ball slightly below the equator. When you hit the ball slightly below the equator on a short putt, what you're going to gain is you'll get more instant ball roll. That'll hold the line better with less energy.
Yeah, when we were together and I was testing it, you were talking about doing a forward press.
Right. And I'm a huge advocate of that. And I became a much more bigger advocate of that when I started watching the guys on the tour. Jordan Spieth, Phil Mickelson, they're big on a forward press. Phil Mickelson's forward press is quite obvious. Jordan Spieth is very slight, but it's a tempo. It gives you a 3 count, which is huge. When you're standing at address, especially to get the club started in the backstroke, you should be doing it more with a push than a pull. But because of the weight, it's easier to get your right hand to start pulling instead of your left hand pushing. It isn't much different than you do with any of your other clubs. Like your driver, you push it back with your left side, you don't pull it back with your right. And in putting, you want to push it back with your left side also. So that little bit of forward press kind of reminds you to get it back with the push. 3 count tempos, 1 being the forward press, 2 is the top of the backstroke, and 3 is the follow through. It gives you a 1, 2, 3 that's very smooth. And what it also does is on a long putt, you can de-loft the face by doing that forward press. So by de-lofting the face, you're going to hit the ball more in the equator of the ball and get it rolling right away, get the energy transferred right away. On a short putt, you can do a very slight forward press And by doing that, you can actually have your hand slightly behind the head, and what you're going to get is a little loft and an instant roll. But the bottom line is there's a ton of
Good.
options with this club if you commit to it. You have to commit to this putter. It isn't just going to fit you. You have to fit the putter. But gee, isn't it about time that someone made a putter that can help you putt better instead of just get in your bag? I mean, that's really what it's all about. They just want you to buy their putter. They'll pay millions of dollars to a pro, make them similar to all the other ones, so you won't notice that much one from another, and then say, "Done this for you, buy it, put it in your bag," and then they move on, and you get a whole garage full of them, and not one's that much different than the other. When does this end? You know, it's crazy. So the putting industry is not going to jump on this bandwagon. To do so is to antiquate their entire line of putters. Why would they do that? Why would they take millions of dollars of inventory and trash it by saying, "Oh yeah, John Ambrose is right. The L2 MOI Max with this great big wide head and big stable sweet spot and a higher MOI and stuff is a better putter than any putter on the market." If they came out with a Scotty Cameron MOI putter, he's not going to do that, because what are you going to do? Sell you one putter and then you're done? And then he just shot himself in the foot with his clubs. So it's we're in a great spot right now. We really are. I kind of equated a lot to the old time big head drivers versus the persimmon head driver. Companies of old, I mean, they were craftsmen. They made beautiful wooden clubs. I had one custom made for me. I loved my persimmon head driver. But facts are facts. The big head metal drivers just are better. You can swing them stronger and you get more forgiving. And you can't find a persimmon head driver anywhere except in nostalgia. So, I mean, that's a good example. It's happened with hybrid irons. Look what they've done to the green. People hit hybrids. Even the pros are using hybrids now. Why?
Yep.
Why aren't they using the old blade iron? It's because it's not as good. And that's where we've reached the green. We reached the green with this putter. The physics of it just aren't deniable. So it's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Well, we hope so. We hope so.
Yeah.
I can honestly say, let's just say the last 3 rounds that I've played, each time I've gone out with one person, and inevitably they'll put another pair with us. And when I bring out the putter, I'm not exaggerating. People are like, "What is that?" So I love the fact that it's a conversation piece. I say, "Here, try it. Take a swing with it." I mean, it's very different, but it really helps you keep on line, and it doesn't allow your hands to push or pull the way you usually would. And after, it doesn't really matter how long it takes, but every time those other people have said, "I'd buy one of these. I'd absolutely buy one of these." And I said, "I don't blame you." And even my club fitter has fallen in love with this putt. You know, I go to a club fitter at a big box store, and he's a great guy. He's been on the show, and he did all my fittings. He loved this putter. He loves the weight of it. He loves the feel of it. And like pulled over his store manager, said, "You got to check this out." He goes, "Where did you get this?" I said, "Don't ask." You know, if I told you a retired airline pilot designed this, you wouldn't even want to talk to me. Just put it in your hands and putt for yourself, and you'll figure it out. Yeah. So the big question everybody wants to know, what's it cost?
Well, the L2 standard, the L2 MOI Max standard, and the lateral line putter actually sell for $169, and that includes free shipping. What we do with the
wait, no, I got to stop you there because we have an international audience. So when you say free shipping, we better clarify that.
Yeah, it's continental United States free shipping.
Okay, so it's in the contiguous 48 states. We're not talking about Alaska, Hawaii, Mexico, correct, Canada, and all ports beyond. So in the correct, contiguous 48 states, you get free shipping.
Free shipping.
Okay, this putter for $169. Okay.
Right, and beyond that, if we do ship, when we do ship international, we always try to find the best price that we can figure out for them and let them know ahead of time what it would be, so they aren't surprised. But the L2 MOI Max Standard gives you an opportunity. It's a 15-day money-back guarantee. You try it, putt with it, and you'll know. If you don't know within 15 days whether you like it or not, then you haven't used it yet. So you'll find out right away if you just doesn't seem like something you can equate to, then you can send that back in 15 days. Otherwise, we also give you a 30-day window, and the 30-day window is interesting. What you can do with that is putt with this club, try it, get accustomed to it, learn the weight, learn the style, learn the system, trust it more. And as you will, you'll start to discover a couple things that may make it a little better for you. A shorter shaft, more lie angle. The XL grip, for example, might be something you would be interested in. And you have up to 30 days to send that standard putter back to us. And all you're going to be doing is paying the shipping for this, send it back and forth. Okay. You send us the standard putter back, and for $50 more, we'll customize a new putter for you any way you want. We'll change color, we'll change lie angle, we'll change length, we'll change grips, anything that'll make that putter work. Our objective is to get the putter in your hands correctly, not just get you a putter. We want you to putt better. So,
what is the standard length of the shaft that you have? Is it 35
The standard
inch?
lateral MOI max is 33 inches with a 73-degree lie angle. Now, the average putters out there are 34 to 35, but this putter's just a little bit more upright than standard. Some of that has to do with the way the weight moves. Some of it's because it's flatter on the bottom, and some of it's because it stands by itself. Too much lie angle, like say this weight head with a 69-degree lie angle, what you end up giving yourself is a lot of double pressure in your hands. And you actually have that even with a traditional putter that's got a lot of lie angle. When you lift up a putter at address, you're lifting it up, but you're also holding it out of you with that lie angle. So you've got a lot of up pressure you're putting on your fingers, which really isn't conducive to being relaxed. So a lie angle that's a little more upright gets the club off the ground with a minimum amount of push out pressure, and it relaxes your hands more. So we talk about all that. We're very, very reachable. I talk to people every day on the phone, and sure. I get accolades, I get comments, I get questions, I get customizing ideas, and I'm this is all I do is this putter, and I'm a director of instruction at a course called Hemlock Springs out here in Geneva, Ohio. But other than that, that's all I do. And so I'm
awesome.
Committed to the putter.
Sure. Okay, $169. Play with it for 30 days. You want to do any customization? You ship it back. You pay for the shipping. Costs $50. And John will do anything you'd like with it, and then you pay for the shipping back to you. But you do get that free shipping on the first time out. And I'm really happy that you do a 33-inch, because that's always, I can't play with 35-inch putters. It's just too tall for me. So 33-inch was perfect for me. So let me ask a favor, if I may.
Sure.
How about some sort of incentive for the GolfSmarter community to check your putter out? Can you offer them any sort of bargains?
Yeah, I think what we'd like to do, and we've done this only with the best options with companies that really lend a lot to the golf community, like GolfSmarter does. We'll do a $15 off if you use GolfSmarter as a code word, and we'll give you a $15 off coupon for that.
Thank you. I mean, I know it's kind of ballsy for me to ask. Here you are, a guy working out of your house. You don't have a factory. This is not, your next career. This is your passion. This is fun for you. So any kind of discount at all is very generous, and I appreciate it very much. So basically, and we'll get the details worked out by the time we publish this episode. But when you're checking out, use GolfSmarter on the checkout code, and you'll get $15 off your purchase. And also, John will appreciate knowing that this conversation had some meaning to it. Yes. John, tell me the website so people can go look at it.
L2putters.com is the website, and browse through it. There's a ton of great videos that do a lot better explanations than I am, and you'll see it over and over again. We do a lot of things to help you really understand the system, and it's a commitment, but it's a fun and good commitment that you'll enjoy because you really will lower your score. One quick comment.
Sure.
I was showing a tour pro the putter, and he said, "Gee, if I had this in my caddy's bag and he had to carry it around, he'd shoot me for it." I said, "It gets a lot lighter when you win." So, I don't think he might carry it too much in a tournament. You don't want to get carried away. I mean, a cell phone weighs like 200 grams. So, I mean, 600 grams versus 380 grams. Come on. It's not that heavy. Take a few balls out of your bag and you're going to be back to normal again. So,
yeah, when as soon as you pick it up, you'll notice a difference. You'll definitely notice a difference.
Yeah.
I was excited to meet you, and I just want to remind everyone to go to l2putters.com to learn more about these putters, and don't forget to make that purchase. Use your checkout code golfsmarter, and you're going to save $15 on any savings at all is worth it, and this is a very generous offer. So, John, thanks so much for doing that. And don't forget, if you're outside the United States and you're interested, or in Hawaii or Alaska, and you're interested in purchasing one of these putters, communicate with John, let him know, and he'll let you know ahead of time what the shipping costs are going to be, so there's no surprises there. Thanks. So, John, I hope this works out for you. Thanks so much for your time today.
Oh, Fred, thanks for having me, and thanks for having a great show. This is a great thing for golfers to have at their disposal. I hope everybody takes advantage of your program. It's really very informational, and it's fun to listen to. Thanks for being there.
Click on the link below to subscribe to our free weekly interviews on the Golf Smarter podcast at golfsmarter.com.